जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada की जय। आनंद गौरी वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नाम आचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। गंगा माई जमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी देवी महारानी की जय। श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन ललिता विशाखा देवी की जय। श्री श्री गौनिताई की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। प्रहलाद नरसिंह देव भगवान की जय। जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। तुलसी देवी महारानी की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavatya Uttam Shloker Bhaktir Bhavatir Nashtaki. So today we're reading from and discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, called the Creative Impetus, and Chapter 6, called the Activities of Lord Rishabdev, and his text 18. This is the second last text of this chapter. So please repeat after me. Rajan Patir Gurur Alam Bhavatam Yadunam Devam Priha Kulapatihi Kava Cha Kinkaro Vaha Astava Evam Anga Bhagavan Bhajatam Mukundo Muktim Dadati Karhichit Sma Na Bhakti Yogam Rajan Patir Gurho Alam Bhavatam Yadunam Devam Priha Kulapati Kavacha Kinkarova Astavevam Anga Bhagavan Bhajatam Mukundo Muktim Dadati Karahichit Samana Bhakti Yogam Rajan Patir Guru Alam Bhavatam Yadunam Devam Priha Kulapati Kavacha Kinkarova Astavevam Anga Bhagavan Bhajatam Mukundo Muktim Dadati Karhichit Samana Bhakti Yogam Rajanpati Guru Alam Bhavatam Yadunam Devam Priha Kulapati कवच किंकरो वा आस्तवेवम् अंग भगवान् भजतां मुकुंदो मुक्तिं ददाति करहिचित् समान भक्ति योगम। देवं प्रिय कुलपति कवचन किंकरो वा अस्तवेवमंग भगवान् भजतां मुकुंदो मुक्ति ददाति करहिचित् स्मन भक्ति। राजन् पतिर्गुरुरलं भवतां यदूनाम् देवं प्रिय कुलपतिः कवच किंकरो वा अस्तमेवांग भगवान् भजतां मुकुंदो मुक्ति ददाति करचित् स्मन भक्ति योगम। राजन् पतिर्गुरुरलं भवतां यदूनाम् देवं प्रिय कुलपतिः क्वचन किंकरो वा भजतां मुकुंदो मुक्ति ददाति करहिचित् स्मन भक्ति योगम। राजन् पतिर्गुरुरलं भवतां यदूनाम् देवं प्रिय कुलपति क्वच किंकरो वः आस्तमेवमंग भगवान् भजतां मुकुंदो मुक्तिं ददाति करहिचित् स्मन भक्ति योगम। राजन् पतिर्गुरुरलं भवतां यदूनाम् Mataji's. Rajan Patirбhavatu Vidunam Devam Priya Kulapati Kvacha Kinkaro Va Kundo Gam. Hare Krishna. I was wondering what she's doing. Okay. Word to word translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanar Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please repeat after me. Rajan, O my dear king, Patihi, maintainer, Guruhu, spiritual master, Alam, certainly, Bhavatam, of you, Yadunam, the Yadu dynasty, Devam, the worshipable deity, Priya, very dear friend, Kulapatihi, the master of the dynasty, Kavacha, sometimes even, Kinkaraha, servant, Vaha, of you, the Pandavas, Astu, to be sure, Evam, thus, Anga, O King, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhajatam, of those devotees engaged in service, Mukunda, the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Muktim, liberation, Dadati, delivers, Karhichit, at any time, Sma, indeed, Na, not, Bhakti Yogam, loving devotional service. Translation. Shukdev Goswami continued, My dear King, the Supreme Person, Mukunda, is actually the maintainer of all the members of the Pandava and Yadu dynasties. He is your spiritual master, worshipable deity, friend, and the director of your activities. To say nothing of this, he sometimes serves you. So he sometimes serves your family as a messenger or servant. This means he worked just as an ordinary servants do. Those engaged in getting the Lord's favor attain liberation from the Lord very easily. But he does not very easily give the opportunity to render direct service unto him. Please repeat after me. Shukadev Goswami continued, My dear King, the Supreme Person, Mukunda, is actually the maintainer of all the members of the Pandava and the Yadu dynasties. He is your spiritual master, worshipable deity, friend, and the director of your activities. To say nothing of this, he sometimes serves your family as a messenger or servant. This means he worked just as ordinary servants do. Those engaged in getting the Lord's favor attain liberation from the Lord very easily. But he does not very easily give the opportunity to render direct service unto him. Purport. While instructing Maharaj Parikshit, Shukdev Goswami thought it was wise to encourage the king, because the king might be thinking of the glorious position of various royal dynasties. Especially glorious is the dynasty of Priyavrata, in which the Supreme Lord Rishabdev incarnated. Similarly, the family of Uttanapad Maharaj, the father of Maharaj Dhruva, is also glorious due to King Prithu taking birth in it. The dynasty of Maharaj Raghu is glorified because Lord Ramchandra appeared in that family. As far as Yadu and Kuru dynasties are concerned, they existed simultaneously. But of the two, the Yadu dynasty was more glorious due to the appearance of Lord Krishna. Maharaj Parikshit might have been thinking that the Kuru dynasty was not as fortunate as the others, because the Supreme Lord did not appear in that family, neither as Krishna, Lord Ramachandra, Lord Rishabdev, or Maharaj Prithu. Therefore, Maharaj Parikshit was encouraged by Shukdev Goswami in this particular verse. The Kuru dynasty may be considered more glorious due to the presence of devotees like the 5 Pandavas who rendered unalloyed devotional service. Although Lord Krishna did not appear in the Kuru dynasty, he was so obligated to the Pandavas. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Lalita Vishakha Devi ki jai, Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki jai, Krishna Balram ki jai, Prahlad and Singhadev Bhagavan ki jai. Although Lord Krishna did not appear in the Kuru dynasty, he was so obligated to the Pandavas' devotional service that he acted as a maintainer of the family and spiritual master of the Pandavas. Although he took birth in the Yadu dynasty, Lord Krishna was more affectionate to the Pandavas. By his actions, Lord Krishna proved that he was more inclined to the Kuru dynasty than the Yadu dynasty. Indeed, Lord Krishna, indebted to the Pandavas' devotional service, sometimes acted as a messenger, and he guided them through many dangerous situations. Therefore, Maharaj Parikshit should not have been saddened because Lord Krishna did not appear in his family. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is always inclined towards his pure devotees, and by his action it is clear that liberation is not very important for the devotees. Lord Krishna easily gives one liberation, but he does not so easily give the facility to become a devotee. Mukti dadati karchit samana bhakti yogam. Directly or indirectly, it is proved that bhakti yoga is the basis for the supreme relationship with the Supreme Lord. It is far superior to liberation. For a devotee, for a pure devotee of the Lord, mukti is automatically attained. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shlakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manoabhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Shri Guruho Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Paricharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhobe Evacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare. The verse and the translation again. Rajan Patir Guru Alam Bhavatam Yadunam Devam Priya Kulapati Kavacha Kinkuro Vaha Astav Evam Anga Bhagavan Bhajatam Mukundo Muktim Dadati Karhachit Samana Bhakti Yogam. Shukdev Goswami continued, my dear king, the Supreme Person Mukunda is actually the maintainer of all the members of the Pandava and Yadu dynasties. He is your spiritual master, the worshipable deity, friend, and the director of your activities. To say nothing of this, he sometimes serves your family as a messenger or servant. This means he worked just as ordinary servants do. Those engaged in getting the Lord's favor attain liberation from the Lord very easily, but he does not very easily give the opportunity to render direct service unto him. So here, this is the second last verse of this particular chapter, describing the activities of Lord Rishabdev. The next chapter, chapter 7, will begin describing, Shukdev Goswami will begin describing the activities of King Bharat, the eldest son of Rishabdev. And in this chapter so far, we've learned many things. And the next verse will summarize all that. So I want to preempt that particular section. But here, Prabhupada, in the purport, he talks about few points. All the points are very important, but few points that I personally picked up. Very important points. One is talking about the various dynasties that actually have ruled and still ruling the universe. And also Shukdev Goswami's concerns or encouragement to Parikshit Maharaj, and then also the qualities of the Supreme Personality Godhead and how he acts. So these are the various breakdown of the shloka and the purport. But to begin with, Srila Prabhupada talks about the various dynasties. There are two main dynasties, as we know, and as we read in Prabhupada's purports, that has ruled this particular planet Earth, and that is ruling the whole universe. In fact, each planet has a predominating deity, and the predominating deity, who is the ruler of that particular planet, is actually, they are descendants from the two personalities, Suryadev, Vivaswan, or Somadev or Chandradev. And these two dynasty origins of dynasties are spread all over the universe. And then on planet Earth, you have the Surya Vamsha and the Chandra Vamsha. And in Surya Vamsha, we know it started by Lord Vivaswan himself, and we read in chapter 4, text 1 of Bhagavad Gita, Shri Bhagavan Vacha Ivam Vivasthe Yogam Proktavanaham Avvayam. Like that, so Lord Krishna is describing that he gave the Bhagavad Gita, the message to Vivaswan. And the other dynasty from the moon god, Chandradev. And Lord Krishna appeared in the moon dynasty, the Chandra dynasty. And whereas Lord Ramachandra, he appeared in the Raghu dynasty or the Surya dynasty. And we know this particular dynastical chart, which is found in back of Srimad Bhagavatam. It gives is actually the family tree of Srimad Bhagavatam itself. Whatever is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, it gives in great detail, summarizes actually in detailed summary of the various dynasties. And we see that from Lord Brahma has various sons. From Swayambhuv Manu, there's three main dynasties coming. From Swayambhuv Manu, Marichi, and Atri. Atri comes in the from Swayambhuv Manu, he who married Devhuti. From Devhuti comes Kapiladev. From Kapiladev later on came Soma, the moon god. And from Soma, then Atri comes, and then from Atri, another son of Lord Brahma, from Atri, Soma is there. From Soma, various dynasties are there in which Lord Krishna appears. Then from Marichi, Vivasvat Manu, Suryadev comes. Vivaswan, from Vivaswan Manu to Vivasvat Manu, and that line Lord Ramachandra appears. And from Swayambhuv Manu, the other sons, two sons, Uttanapad and Priyavrata. From Priyavrata, we find Rishabdev, the current topic. Rishabdev is coming. And then Uttanapad, you have Prithu Maharaj is coming. So, all these dynasties are there. And we find that the current dynasty, and Srila Prabhupada points it out, that the current dynasties or the ruling dynasties in the world, not just in India, they've been spread all over the universe, all over the world, in Europe and other parts of the world. They actually all originate from these two, Suryavamsh or Chandravamsh. And the time of Lord Parshuram, when Lord Parshuram annihilated the Kshatriya race, the warrior race 21 times, many Kshatriyas fled this particular part of the universe, of the world, and they fled to different parts of the world. And they're all descendants, like in Europe, in Russia, and in other parts of the world, they're all descending from these two dynasties. And Prabhupada also points it out of the two dynasties, the Suryavamsh dynasty was and is being predominated. Or more important, the main kings, the chief kings, were always coming under the Suryavamsh. And generally, the subordinate kings, they were in the line of Chandravamsh. But the dynasty of Surya, or the dynasty of Chandradev, is more glorified because Lord Krishna appeared there in recent times. And here we find, earlier on in text 3 and 4, and in the chapter 5 throughout, and in previous chapters and Leelas, Shukdev Goswami is pointing out to Parikshit Maharaj, he's describing the Leelas of the Lord, describing the Leelas of the devotees of the Lord, and also describing what is this material world. What is the mind, how to control the mind, how to become detached, and how not to become attached to the material activities. And that the detachment is based on the activities of the mind. And this particular chapter, text 3 and 4, Shukdev Goswami, just few verses earlier, has pointed out, text 3, he says, all learned scholars have given their opinion. What is the opinion? The mind by nature is very restless, and one should not make friends with it. If we place full confidence in mind, it may cheat us at any moment. And then later on, he compares in the text 4, the mind to Pumshchali, which is an unchaste woman, or that which is some very easily carried away by other men. So, but here we find very interesting fact. What is that? That Shukdev Goswami is concerned. And who's Shukdev Goswami? Shukdev Goswami is one of the topmost Mahabhagavata, and he is one of the most renunciate devotees there is. As soon as he was born, he left his household, his mother, his father, and he was walking without any clothes. So he was great renunciate. And we find in other chapters, other cantos, he says his roof of a house is the sky, and his shelter and other aspects of the shelter are the trees, and his bed is the earth, and his pillow is his arms. So he's so renounced. But here we find other side of Shukdev Goswami. What is that side? That he's becoming concerned. And he became concerned, and he encourages Parikshit Maharaj. Now one may think, Shukdev Goswami may be thinking, what is the concern of Parikshit Maharaj first? Parikshit Maharaj is thinking, as Prabhupada points out, Parikshit Maharaj is thinking, which is natural, that he's feeling discouraged. Oh, Lord Krishna did not appear in my dynasty. Which dynasty I am? I am in the Kuru dynasty. Whereas Lord Krishna appeared in Yadu dynasty. And we know from the chart, Yadu and the Kuru and the 5 sons of Maharaja Yayati, they're all coming from the same origin, i.e. Maharaja Yayati. So they have existed simultaneously. Whereas other dynasties, they've come and existed separately in different times. But these two dynasties, they've existed simultaneously. But here, Maharaj Parikshit is thinking, he's feeling little saddened, or feeling little saddened, yes, that's right. And how come I'm so unfortunate that I came in the Kuru dynasty, whereas Krishna did not come in my dynasty, and he came in Yadu dynasty. So it is natural for one to feel proud of one's lineage, proud of one's family, parentage, especially if the lineage, if the parentage is so great. Sometimes we see somebody says, oh, my father was this, my father was that, I'm coming 5th generation of this particular dynastic. For example, our advocate in Indore, who we go and consult it sometimes, he is the 5th generation lawyer in his family, and he's very proud. And when we go, the photos are there. Or when you go to some political parties, or even Rashtrapati Bhavan, they're all the presidents and the prime minister's photos there going back. So like that, in one's family or in political family or in royal families, these things are there. They're very proud of the lineage and parentage, especially if that lineage, the parentage or the dynasty has done something good for the community, has done something good for the world and society. So here Maharaj Parikshit is also feeling like that. He's saying, how unfortunate I am. I wish I was born in the Yadu dynasty. Sometimes a devotee may also feel, I wish I was born 500 years ago when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was here. I wish I was born when Prabhupada was here. I wish I was born 30, 40 years ago. So that mentality is also there. And devotees who are not born in India, they wish I was born in India. And those who are born in India, I wish I was born in the West. So it's like that. So that desire and the mentality is always there. Or those individuals born in India, and they wish to go abroad. I wish I go abroad. So that desire, because India is useless, Americas or whatever. So that the feeling of belonging to other aspect is always there. There's a saying in English, the grass is greener. There's one thing, the grass is always greener on the other side. There's always, whatever situation one is at, one doesn't feel comfortable with, they always want to change or go to do something else. Swadharmo nidhanam, as Krishna also points out. Don't follow others' religion or swadharma, do your own. So the point is being satisfied with whatever one situation one finds self in. And sometimes if the situation is not good, then one has to adjust or make use of the bad bargain, as I say, in one's mentality. But here, Maharaj Parikshit is concerned. But what does Shukdev Goswami do? Now, does Shukdev Goswami think, hey Maharaj, have you not understood what I've told you? I've been telling for the last 5 cantos, you know the body. I've been telling you about Lord Krishna and his devotees, how great they are. I've been telling you about their relationship with Krishna, how to develop devotional service. And you are concerned about which dynasty you belong to? Are you not in a mental platform? Have I not taught you properly? No, Maharaj Shukdev Goswami easily could have thought that. But here we find opposite. The greatest brahmachari, greatest renunciate, the greatest Mahabhagavat, yet he is very sensitive to others' feelings. And that is the point in this particular shloka. And this point Prabhupada pointing out that although Shukdev Goswami, he could have said to Maharaj Parikshit, don't be on the mental platform, Maharaj. You're thinking about your dynasty, don't be like that. But here he is very concerned. Because he's concerned, he wants to encouraging. He's encouraging Maharaj Parikshit. No. Though you've not been born in Yadu dynasty, but you're born in Kuru dynasty. And in Kuru dynasty, and Lord Krishna was very favorable to Kuru dynasty, even more favorable than the Yadu dynasty, his own dynasty. And then he gives examples why. We'll go into that in a minute. But the point is, a preacher, a devotee, or anyone for that matter, one has to be sensitive to others' feelings. But at the same time, one has to be careful one doesn't become oversensitive. You know, there's a saying, attachment and detachment. There's another word for detachment. Attachment, aversion. Attachment and aversion are the same side, two sides of the same coin. So being oversensitive and being not sensitive enough, one has to be very careful. So here, Maharaj Parikshit's sensitivities have been taken care of Shukdev Goswami. Because being oversensitive and being too sensitive can lead one off the path, or the right path. And one then can really go on the mental platform. As now if why did not Maharaj Parikshit go on the mental platform? Because his concerns were linked to Krishna. He was thinking, how unfortunate I am that I wasn't born in the family, in the dynasty where Krishna was born. So that was his concern. And Shukdev Goswami was sensitive to Maharaj Parikshit's sensitivities which are linked to Krishna. Otherwise, you would have told him, get off your mental platform. So that is the danger of being oversensitive and not sensitive enough. If you're not sensitive, you're on mental platform. If you're oversensitive, you're on mental platform. But if you're sensitive, right percentage, right way, and especially if that is linked, being sensitivity towards Krishna and his devotees, Jai Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Lalita Vishakhi Devi Gonitai Krishna Balaram Prahlad Singh Dev Ki Jai. So right manner, right proportion, sensitivity has to be there, especially if that is linked to Krishna and his devotees. And that's what Shukdev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit is telling us. That a preacher, a devotee, or anyone for the matter has to be very sensitive. And that is one of the qualities of a devotee. Titikshva Karunika Suhrada Sarvdahinam Ajat Shatrava Shanta Sadhu Bhushana. So, Titikshva, tolerant. Tolerant doesn't mean how can one be sensitive? Sensitive can only come if one is tolerant. But that tolerant doesn't mean, as Prabhupada points out, one should be humble but not stupid. Tolerant doesn't mean I'm sensitive or whatever he does. No, there has to be right proportion, right method, right balance. So anything one does has to be right balance to that. Otherwise, either way, exploitation will come. Blackmail will come. Both sides. So right balance. How does one find the right balance? One has to obviously, find out one for self or with consultation with other devotees. Consultation is very important. And here, so then what is being pointed out by Shukdev Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit? So feel him that he is very fortunate. Then Shukdev Goswami tells the qualities and the leelas of Lord Krishna, which Lord Krishna, which Maharaj Parikshit's forefathers, his grandfather, Arjun was his grandfather, Parikshit grandfather, especially his grandfathers were so fortunate. And his mother, Uttara, was fortunate to see Krishna. And she was saved by Krishna. Anyway, he says, he is your spiritual master. Shukdev Goswami says, Krishna is your spiritual master. The spiritual master of the Kuru dynasty. Why is he spiritual master? Because he was guiding the Pandavas and the Kuru dynasty throughout their life. In fact, though living in Dwarka, Krishna was always eager to go to Hastinapur. At every opportunity which arose, he immediately went to Hastinapur and spent many, many months there. So he was a spiritual master. Arjun became his disciple and he spoke the Bhagavad Gita to them. and he is a worshipable deity. All the Pandavas knew that Krishna is the Supreme Personality Godhead. So they worshipped him accordingly. Other members of the Kuru dynasty, especially the Kauravas, they did not know, they did not care. But the Pandavas did. They knew who Krishna was. And he was a friend. Shukdev Goswami continues to point out that Krishna is your friend. Krishna's bosom friend, as I say, was Arjun, Parikshit Maharaj's grandfather. And we know some of the how friendly they were. And it's pointed out when Arjun and Krishna, they used to lie in the same bed, together chatting and discussing various activities. And Arjun used to put his feet on the chest of Krishna as a friend. Now, can anyone do that? No, in normal friendly relations, one is very hesitant. Even these days, even if you touch somebody, they become enraged or say something very, inappropriately. One becomes very enraged. And in friendship, everything is broken for life. You become the enemy. Not you, but your dynasties in the future become the enemies. But here, Arjun was putting his feet on the chest of Krishna. That's how friendly he was. And Shukdev Goswami is pointing that to Parikshit Maharaj. And he's the director of the activities. Every activity Pandavas did, they always consulted Krishna. Everything they did. Because Krishna was a shelter. To say nothing of this, he sometimes serves he is a messenger. We all know Lord Krishna was sent by Yudhishthira Maharaj before the war, Kurukshetra war, Lord Krishna went as a peace messenger. And to Duryodhana, and Duryodhana rejected him. And at that time, Krishna showed his partial universal form. And as a servant, Krishna acted as a sarthi, as a charioteer to Arjuna. That is and also in a Rajasuya sacrifice. Krishna was looking after the shoe stand. All the hundreds, thousands of people came, he was taking care of the shoes. So what, quote and unquote, lower servant one can get? So Krishna acted as a friend, their servant, as ordinary servants do. And also in the purport, Prabhupada points it out that he guided them through many dangerous situations. Many dangerous situations. Anyone like to say the many dangerous situations? Anyone want to say one? The house of lack fire, poison, Lakshagra, yes. The demons, which demon? Hidimba. Krishna was there? I don't think Krishna. Maybe, I don't know. Cannibals. What else? What other dangerous situation? Durvasa Muni. Draupadi. The greatest war of Kurukshetra. Any other? Parikshit Maharaj was protected in the womb. The dynasty itself. So many dangerous situations. Bhagavad Gita, yes, absolutely. So many. And in the war also, Arjun's chariot, as we know, Arjun's chariot would have got destroyed probably on day one. Immediately, because other fighters, they were hurling so many different weapons of greater than weapons of mass destruction. They were hurling. And with one weapon, or with one arrow of Bhishma Dev or Karna, that chariot would have been burnt into cinders. But it didn't, because Krishna was there all the time. And we know at the end of war, of each day, Krishna asked Arjun to leave first. Get off the chariot. And then he would get off the chariot. And the last day of the war, Krishna, Arjun asked him, so why do you ask me? get off the chariot first. Why don't you? You should get off. You're the charioteer. It is your duty to get off first. Then me. Why are you asking me? And then Krishna showed him. He said, you get off. And as soon as Krishna then get off, because the war was over, the chariot just burnt into cinders. Because the effect of the weapons which had on the chariot, which was counteracted by Krishna's being present on the chariot. See? There's so many situations that Krishna saved from beginning to the end, and Prabhupada points it out. And here, Maharaj Sukadev Goswami is also pointing out to Maharaj Parikshit that you should feel very lucky that Krishna was more inclined towards Kuru dynasty, your own dynasty, than the Yadu dynasty. And Prabhupada sometimes has pointed out, sometimes a father doesn't give so much affection to his son than the grandfather does to his grandchild. So the affection is more towards an uncle than towards a father also. So Krishna was related as a cousin, as uncles to the Kuru dynasty. So he showered more affection, but more importantly, Prabhupada points out, why did Krishna shower more affection towards the Kuru dynasty than Yadu dynasty? Because the Pandavas, their unalloyed devotional service, Kuru dynasty may be considered more glorious due to the presence of devotees like the 5 Pandavas who rendered unalloyed devotional service to Lord Krishna, and they were so dear to Krishna that he gave everything to them. And then Shukdev Goswami also points it out, and Prabhupada points it out, that Lord Krishna very easily gives liberation, but he doesn't easily give an opportunity to somebody to become a devotee. And again a question may be asked, why is that? We read in the scriptures, we read everywhere, then we want to become devotees of Krishna. Everyone wants to become a devotee of Krishna. Krishna himself comes. He sends his devotees, his representatives, to make everyone devotee. But yet, Shukdev Goswami is pointing out, but he does not very easily give opportunity to render direct service unto him, or to become, and Prabhupada says that he doesn't give opportunity, he does not easily give one the facility to become a devotee. Is that a contradiction? Here we want to become a devotee, and there we read, oh, Krishna will not give you opportunity to become a devotee. Is that not a contradiction? It seems a contradiction, but one explanation to that, Krishna does give opportunity. He gives out liberation to anyone. But to become a devotee, especially unalloyed devotee or pure devotee, and Krishna is he's not forthcoming, as he's very forthcoming to give somebody some benedictions, some liberations, up to the point of liberation. But to become a pure devotee, unalloyed devotee, that means Krishna has to give himself to the devotee. And by giving himself, that is the point. If one gives oneself to the other person, there has to be conditions. And if one is not qualified, unless one is qualified, Krishna will not give the opportunity for that individual to become pure devotee. Because that pure devotional relationship, Krishna takes care of the devotee. And that is the level of becoming a pure and unalloyed devotee. It's like the Pandavas. That's why, because the Pandavas were pure devotees, Krishna felt obliged to look after them. Krishna was obliged, well, not obliged, he was as a reciprocation, as a Bhakta Vatsal. He was looking after the Kuru dynasty, because in the Kuru dynasty, the 5 Pandavas were his pure devotees. And to become on that level is not easy. And that's what and finally, Srila Prabhupada points out, it is far superior to liberation. What is Bhakti Yoga is far superior to liberation. For a pure devotee, the Lord Mukti is automatically attained. And Bilavamangal Thakur also in Krishna Karanamrit also points it out. He says Bhaktis tvai bhagwan yadi sayad devam na falati divya kishore murtihi mukti swayam mukliyatanjali sevate asman dharma artha kama gataya samaya pratikshaha. That means, my dear Lord, if we develop unflinching devotional service unto you, then automatically your transcendental youth form is revealed to us. Divya Kishore Murti. Thus liberation herself waits with folded hands to serve us, and the ultimate goals of religiosity, dharma, economic development, earth, and sense gratification come, patiently wait to render service to us. So it's not just mukti, but dharma, artha, and kam. They also patiently wait to serve a pure devotee. And it's not the mentality of the devotee after reading this, I want to make Krishna my servant. I want to make mukti my servant. Because that is the danger of doing that as well. I want to become a devotee, so I want to become master of Krishna. That's not a devotee's mentality. So I think I'll stop here. I'll welcome any corrections, any comments, or any questions on today's class. Sadhan Siddhipu. Right. On the chariot, yes. That's true. Yes. Thank you for correction. Though Krishna got down every day after the battle from the chariot, he kept his garland, mala, on the chariot. So his presence, because Krishna and Krishna's paraphernalia are non-different, so the presence was on the chariot. That counteracted the effects of all the weapons. But last day, Krishna did not leave his garland on the chariot. That's why it just burnt into cinders. So that was the effect. That's how Krishna was saving the Pandavas in the battle itself. When Arjuna took the vow of killing, who was that? Jayadratha. Yes, Jayadratha. Before the sunset. And Krishna made, through his yogic powers, sunset appear, sun to be setting appear early. And then everyone is rejoicing, and Krishna made the clouds disappear and asked Arjuna to shoot him. So Krishna was always there, guiding and being the spiritual master. And if Krishna wasn't there, we know, and Prabhupada himself points it out, they would have swallowed the Pandavas. Like a Timingala fish swallows a whale. They would have swallowed them. And only because of Krishna, and it is a devotee, it is everyone's, and that's what Prabhupada, the reason Prabhupada then came to establish ISKCON, to make sure those who are in ISKCON, they also become and follow in the footsteps of the Pandavas and become unalloyed pure devotees of Lord Krishna. But that can only be done if one stays in ISKCON. And that can only be done if one renders unalloyed devotional service with being sensitive to other individuals. And one of the reasons of insensitivity is because of envy. Because of name, adoration, etc. And that is the danger point one has to be careful of. But our goal is like that. Our goal, everyone's goal, is to be fortunate, to become what we are now connected to this dynasty of what is known as ISKCON. And aim is to stay in this dynasty forever. Unless there's some other points, we'll Chitta Hari Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for nice class. It is mentioned here that one Krishna does not give devotional service very easily, and you also mentioned that one has to become qualified for receiving devotional service. So, like, what is the qualification for receiving devotional service? That's my question.
The qualification of receiving devotional service is, devotional service begins from Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na Shochati na Kankshati Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. That is the level one has to come to. Unless one comes to the level, it is very difficult to. That is the level from which devotional service begins. It's not ends. Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu. We have to see all the living entities on the same level. Na shochati na kankshati. Like that. So that is a level of attainment, but that can only come through by the process, by following the process of devotional service. And that process is sadhana bhakti. And this process will take you to the level, as we talked about. But in that process, there are many obstacles. For example, 10 offenses in chanting of the holy name. Obstacles, Prabhupada pointed out, there are accidents even on the royal roads. So one has to be careful that to avoid the obstacles and perform one's devotional service, one's sadhana properly. The key thing is sincerity. Being sincere. I think when Mahaman Prabhu came last time, he explained the origin of the word sincere. Does anyone remember? What does sincere mean?
Sincere.
Sinasera. No mixing. It has to be pure. No wax. So, Sinasera in Italy, in the Middle Ages, the Italian marble even now in India is very, very prestigious. Sometimes more popular than the marble from Macarana. Everyone goes from Italian marble. So in Italy, a few hundred years ago, this word, when it was coined, Sinasera, I mean, she can pronounce better than it, how to pronounce the Sinasera. So the dealers of marble dealers, they used to put wax because the cracks come in the marble. Right? They used to put wax to cover it up joint. So the cracks won't show up properly. They used to fill it up with wax. So how to tell whether marble was genuine or without cracks, was pure or not? Because they used to test the marble. Just like when you buy the marble now, the different grades of marble, A, B, and C. And within A, there are subgrades, A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. That depends on the whiteness of the marble. If there's any darkness, then different grades are there. And when you go to buy the marble, the dealer will show you good marble, but when you buy it and send it, give you the worst marble. We all have that. So one has to be careful. So in that, the Sinasera without wax, so means being pure, being without adulteration. But sincerity, the word has come from this Sinasera. Sincerity means, what does being pure means? It has been developed, this word. It means without any cheating, being honest, without any duplicity, being honest with oneself and to others, no cheating propensity. And being ability to recognize one's level on progression, whatever level one is. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu points out one particular factor, which is the predominating factor to continue and obtain the mercy of Krishna, is sincerity. Unless one is, and that is the overriding factor. Even one is not qualified. on the path, even if one does not reach 100% in one's sadhana bhakti. But if one is sincere to the path of this devotion or sadhana bhakti, then that is the predominating factor which will one carry through. Being sincere. Again, sincere, being honest, no duplicity, no politics, being straightforward, being sensitive, being caring, but at the same time not being stupid either. There has to be balance. And we all know how sincere one is. We all know when we lie to somebody. We all know when we cheat somebody. We all know when we deceive somebody. Because that the inner voice, Paramatma, tells us. But we refuse to, because the conditioning is so. The modes of material nature is such. Anicham, Baladiva Anicham, what is it says? Karujana says, 3rd chapter. Anichana Varshane Baladiva Niyojita. Even if by force, one is forced to act against one's desires. And Krishna points out, Kamesha, Krodesha, Samadgud, Rajagun Samadbhava. You see, it's a lust. But the lust is controlled by what? 3 modes of material nature. And this one's nature, what is stopping one to become sincere is one's nature. And how does one's nature is controlled? This by 3 modes of material nature. One's nature means one's subhav. It doesn't matter, it's very, very difficult to control one's subhav, because that is based on one's past activities, one's karma, and 3 modes of material nature. But it can be changed if one is sincere. And sometimes we are forced, even though against our wishes, to do inappropriate things. And later on we regret, I should not have done that, I should not have done that. But the test is at that particular moment. But that is the level one has to come to, becoming sincere. Otherwise then, samoham sarva bhuteshu, na shochati na kangshati, brahma bhuta prasanatma. See, brahma bhuta, as Krishna and Shukdev Goswami Prabhupada is pointing out, Krishna gives liberation easily. And that is a brahma bhuta platform. Impersonal liberation, other 5 types of liberation, thus easily. Sarshti, Shalokya, Sarupya, Samipya, etc. But bhakti is very difficult. Pure devotional service. Especially impersonal liberation, Brahma Jyoti, Krishna, no problem gives. But unless one is sincere, it's very difficult to come to unalloyed devotional service which the Pandavas are. And that is our goal. Sometimes, how to become sincere, even though we're doing wrong things sometimes, inappropriate things, because we can't help it, because we're all conditioned. But the aim is we have to do the right thing. That is the goal. That should be our motto.
Thank you, Prabhu. Little clarification I just request. As it is said here that we need some qualification for getting devotional service. So like we hear that Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bij, and Madhurya Kandamani also, Shri Vachan Thakur says that only by the mercy of devotees one gets devotional service. So is there any prerequisite quality needed in the candidate also for receiving that seed? Or it is just causeless? That's like...
Say, Guru Krishna Prasada Paya Bhakti Lata Bij. One can receive the Bhakti Lata Bij, but then one has to nurture the Lata Bij by himself.
Yes.
And the Guru and the devotees can help that, no doubt. But then to nurture and for the watering the beach, one has to be sincere. One has to be sincere, no duplicity. Sincerity has to be there. And through sincerity and through sadhana bhakti, the Lata Bij will grow. And how to receive? What is the qualification of receiving the Lata Bij? Right? And we know there are 3 types of devotees. Sadhan Siddhis. What are the other? Kripa Siddhi and Nitya Siddha. There are 3 types of devotees. So I know, some of us fall into Sadhan Siddhi, some of us fall into Nitya Siddhas, and some of us fall into Kripa Siddhas. And question was asked by one of the disciples to Prabhupada, what have we done to be in association with you, Prabhupada, and to be association with in ISKCON. And Prabhupada said, I've created that fortune for you. I.e., He's created that fortunate situation. I.e., Prabhupada gave the Kripa Siddha, the Bhakti Lata Bij. I think Bhagavad Gita in chapter 7, I think, I forgot the verse. That talks about that. I'm forgetting it. But yeah, so if we're fortunate, we can receive through our own endeavor, or through the mercy of the devotees, we can receive that. But one has to pray. If the mercy isn't there from the devotees, immediately, if our sadhana is not very good, then ultimately what helps is a prayer. But the common denominator, even if prayer is sincere prayer, if the sincere prayer is there, then then Krishna will arrange conditions in which either our sadhana will improve, or we will receive the mercy from the devotees, or both will happen. As in ISKCON. ISKCON, the devotees are very fortunate. Those who are not Nitya Siddhas, those who are Kripa Siddhas, they've received, we received the mercy of Prabhupada, and through the mercy of Prabhupada, our sadhana is progressing very nicely. But to stay on the path, sincerity is the thing. I think we'll stop here. We have to be sincere to our prasad also. So we'll stop here now. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Radha Madan Mohan, Lalita Vishakha Devi Gonatai Krishna Balram, Prahlad Singh Dev ki jai, Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.